One of the most widely spread features of aging is dementia. And dementia is not just one disease, but rather a collection of different pathologies. Alzheimer's disease accounts for more than 50% of all dementias. And it can be heritable, and I've already talked about the familial Alzheimer's disease genes, which means if you get the mutation, you are very likely to get the pathology when you're older, and the sporadic form, which means we don't really know the exact causes of the pathology. So there are 6 key features of Alzheimer's disease pathology. They include amyloid beta plaques, neurofibrillary tangles, the loss of synapses, loss of neurons, dystrophic neurites, and reactive glia. So let me briefly describe all of them. So amyloid beta plaques. These senile plaques are formed by aggregated amyloid beta peptide. It comes from the amyloid precursor protein, which actually sits inside the membrane of a neuron, and it can be cut in different places by 3 different kinds of proteins. One of the products of this cutting is amyloid beta. It is toxic when it forms oligomers, meaning several amyloid beta proteins stick together to form aggregates. So those aggregates, they really don't let neurons function properly. And when there are more and more aggregates, they stick together and form large insoluble plaques that sit in between the neurons and just do bad things. We don't really understand the exact mechanism how they contribute to pathology, but we know that's one of the hallmarks of AD. So the second thing, that's neurofibrillary tangles, and these tangles are also formed by protein aggregates, but in this case that's hyperphosphorylated tau protein that forms those aggregates. And neurofibrillary tangles also contribute to pathology. So the other things that happen during Alzheimer's disease, that's loss of synapses, so there are less and less synapses, and there are also less and less neurons. Normally, during normal aging, the overall number of neurons does not really change. However, when we're talking about Alzheimer's disease pathology, that number is really going down. So basically your brain is really shrinking because there are just less cells and they're less connected to each other, which means we have a loss of synapses. The 2 other things, dystrophic neurites, that just means that dendrites and axons that basically form the connections between the neurons, they're dystrophic, they're not functioning properly, and they're thinner, and we just have less of connections between the neurons. And the last thing is reactive glia. So glial cells, they are different types. So we have the most really contributing to pathology, that's probably the microglial cells that sort of act like an immune system inside the brain. They prevent our brain from the pathogens. So once they're super reactive, they act too much, more than needed. That means that they are creating the pro-inflammatory environment around them. So, and that's really bad because those pro-inflammatory molecules, they change the environment of the cells and they interfere with their function. So those are the 6 main hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease pathology, and let me just name them one more time. That's senile amyloid beta plaques, neurofibrillary tangles, loss of synapses, loss of neurons, dystrophic neurites, and reactive glia.